Welcome back. South Africa has seen a spike in kidnappings and child abductions in recent weeks. We heard yesterday that around 2,000 cases have been recorded over a 3-month period. This will be a concern for parents as we go into the festive season. Amnesty International South Africa, Shenilla Mohamed, joins us to tell us more about this. Thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it. I think let's just start off with the concerning picture, especially with kidnappings, as we have seen in the last month or so with the 4 Morty brothers, and we also know of 2 other cases in Mpumalanga, and now with this 11-year-old here in Johannesburg in Mayfair. This is definitely a concerning picture.
Good afternoon, Heidi, and good afternoon to your viewers. Well, it's an extremely concerning picture. And, you know, although kidnappings are not new in South Africa, what we're seeing is a definite increase. If you look at the police stats that the minister released yesterday, between July and September, there were 2,000 kidnappings. Now, we're talking about a space of 3 months. But I think even more concerning is the fact that children are now being targeted. You know, we saw a case as well yesterday where an 18-year-old managed to escape from the kidnappers who were trying to kidnap her. So, you know, it's really disturbing, and we really do need some strong action to come from the authorities to try to curb this.
Do you think that not enough action is being taken, especially by the South African police services and other authorities that could possibly assist in these kidnappings?
Well, I think one of our biggest concerns is the lack of information that is coming out from the authorities around this. And while we understand, Heidi, that while a kidnapping is in progress and while, you know, they are still trying to get the victim released, that it's not wise to release information. But you know, we're not talking about information case by case. What we're requesting is information from the authorities about who is behind this, what is going on in the country, and how are they dealing with it. Because I think there's a lot of fear. You see it on social media. There's a lot of speculation. People have no idea what is going on. And what we don't want is like gender-based violence and violence for this to become normalized in our society. So, you know, again, we've seen cases of police, in Pretoria, we saw a recent case of a police commander who was in charge of the kidnapping unit, who is now in court for, allegedly conspiring with kidnappers. So again, the trust in police is low. But also, I think the most worrying thing is we are not being reassured. We are not being given the information that tells us that the authorities are on top of this. They know what is going on. They know who is behind it, and they have a plan to deal with it. At the moment, all we're seeing are responses when something happens. And even then, I think, you know, after the response, everything goes quiet. With the Morty brothers, while we are happy that they are back home, we still don't know what happened. We still don't know who was behind it. We still don't know. And there's a lot of speculation that is coming out through the media, but I think that is not good enough, Heidi. We deserve to know the truth. We deserve to know what is going on in our country and what the authorities are doing to stop it.
Certainly, and just having covered the kidnapping around the 4 Morty brothers, we were actually asked as the media to be very careful as to what we report because of the sensitivity around this, but that doesn't take away from the fact that we need answers from the authorities, and we still don't have the answers. Amnesty released a statement to say that it's very clear that South Africa is not a safe place for everyone who lives here, and it's not just kidnappings, but looking at the crime stats that were released yesterday, it's a concerning picture given the fact that we're also moving into the festive season where people are going to be out and about more. What is your call to authorities? What would you want seen to be done to make people feel a lot safer in South Africa?
Well, first of all, Heidi, I think that, you know, they have to deliver on commitments that were made. They have to do their job. So if you look at the stats that were released yesterday on gender-based violence, for example, I mean, we've seen a 7.1% increase, a 4.7% increase. And I think that, you know, that is unacceptable given the fact that our own president, last year said that it was a pandemic. It was a second pandemic. We saw a fund being set up, the Gender-Based Violence Femicide Private Sector Fund, where, 141 million was pledged to that fund last year, but we don't know what is happening. We've got these gender-based violence laws that were passed by Parliament in September, but have yet to be signed into law by the President. So, if you look at the situation around crime, it's not good enough for the police minister to stand up every 3 months and say, oh my gosh, the situation is getting worse. My question to him is, what are you doing about it? Are your police being trained? What is happening to make this country a safer place for people? And it's not just around Christmas. We know that over Christmas things get worse, but throughout the year, Heidi, we are faced, and you as a media person know this, we are faced day after day after day with horrendous crimes that are happening in this country. And we've started to normalize this. And I think what we're saying to the public is, do not accept this. Demand accountability. We've just come out of the local elections. We need to make sure that the police minister, the president, all these people are delivering. And when I say by delivering, do their jobs. Don't just throw stats at us. Tell us how you're going to solve this. And that is not what we're seeing at the moment.
The DA has come out saying that looking at the recent crime stats, which looks at a 3-month period, it's enough to warrant the police minister to step down or to be fired. What would you say to response to this? Because just looking at the crime stats, it seems as though everything has increased and there has been no decrease in any of these horrific crimes that take place in South Africa. And it just seems as though it's becoming more and more unsafe.
Well, as a non-political organization, that's one thing that we would never do, Heidi. We would never call for the resignation of anyone or for the support of any political party. What we are saying, though, is that, the president, as the head of state, is accountable to ensure that his ministers do what they are supposed to be doing. And so we lay the blame at the door of the president. What we're saying to the president is, you need to step up. You need to make sure that your ministers are doing what they say that they're doing, and if they're not, you need to take action. So, it's unacceptable that in every sector we are seeing failure of delivery, whether it is in the police, whether it's in the municipalities, wherever. And at the end of the day, it's really the responsibility of the state to ensure that the people in this country not only get their basic human rights in the form of service delivery, but that they are safe and that the right to life is protected. Now, how that's done, really, we have to hold the state to account for that. And, whether it's about firing people, whether it's about training, whether it's that really sits at the doorstep of the authorities. But what we're saying is the situation as it is cannot be allowed to continue. We cannot be losing more lives. We cannot be having more women traumatized and murdered and brutalized. We cannot now have children being plucked out of schools. I mean, one of the kids was actually called out of a school line. What are parents supposed to do? And this is an unacceptable situation. And I think South African citizens must demand answers from the people who are there to serve them.
Certainly. Very interesting insights there. And thank you for your time. That's Shenilla Mohamed from Amnesty International South Africa, and hopefully the powers that be are listening to that, because it's becoming a very concerning picture living in South Africa.